Two things that women need to understand very clearly about finance. One, finance is not numbers and accounting and complex. Finance is actually a psychology and a common sense. If you actually give it a thought process, it's an enjoyable journey. And two, women, you are the Lakshmi of the family. And when you are the Lakshmi, अगर लक्ष्मी को ही लक्ष्मी का ज्ञान नहीं होगा तो कैसे चलेगा?
First episode on In a Nutshell with Sherene Aftab. I am here with a very special guest, that is Priyanka Acharya. I look forward to beginning this session with her. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Sherene. It's a pleasure to be here. So there are lots and lots of nutshells that we are going to speak on today.
Yes. Share a little bit about yourself and your journey and what made you be that you are here.
So, as a child, I always wanted to become a psychologist, in fact. So, that was always an aspiration I had. But because I used to get good marks, it was like difficult in those times to pursue arts as a profession. So, it was like either commerce or science. I did my BCom and then I did my MBA in finance. And somewhere that love for psychology never went away. So, when I used to be in my college library, I used to read about psychology, if not the conventional textbooks. So while I was doing all this, I completed my MBA in finance. And after 5 years of my career, I ended up working with Bombay Stock Exchange.
Okay.
So I was a content manager and faculty with Bombay Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And when I did that, of course, it was financial content. Being a heritage site, there were a lot of people who visit BSc, for sessions and for understanding the financial system. Now, I started understanding that if I typically explain them jargons or I tell them how equity works and stocks works and scripts and it becomes very overwhelming to a person to understand. And in a span of 1 hour, how much would a person grab?
Right.
So that way, I started building analogies to it. And eventually, while doing these trainings, I understood that actually finance is a psychology. So that's where I decided let my academics not go waste and let my psychology love still pick up.
Wow, that's amazing how you brought them together. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think, like you said, it's very difficult, it's very tough, it seems very complicated because we always mix up finance with numbers. So we say finance is accounting, finance is jargons, finance is you trade and you do speculation and you buy stocks and sell shares and so many things. So you just get so overwhelmed again with the whole process that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But finance is actually a pure common sense and psychology if you understand the deeper aspect of it. Or rather, why am I saying deeper? You understand the basics of it.
Right. Can you break that into more simplistic terms eventually?
So, as a woman, I love to say that I'm the Lakshmi of two families.
Yeah.
So that's my basic universal introduction, which I never use because when it comes to finances, I would generally outsource it to the men of the house. So I'm never thinking about that Lakshmi aspect of mine. I'll do a Lakshmi Pujan on Diwali and I'll do all this, but I'm not thinking about the Lakshmi aspect of my identity. So basics means what? Now what we do is finance means shares, means mutual funds, means this. So we link it to instruments. We need to understand the core of things. So, the core of finance, if I put one of it here, is the salad, which appears to be very boring, dry, bland, is the emergency provisions, the insurance that we buy. The main course is regular income. That is something which I day in and day out need as a nutrition for my body.
Yeah.
So I need something like 2 years में पैसा होना चाहिए, 5 साल में पैसा होना चाहिए. So I need to allocate it in such a way that roti, dal, sabzi, chawal, सब कुछ है मेरे platter.
Correct.
And the dessert, which needs a lot of process, no mistakes, needs a lot of consistency, perseverance to prepare, to relish. So that dessert is my capital appreciation, my equities and mutual fund and all those long terms. So if I don't allocate everything, I can't have only dessert, only salad, only regular income, right? So I need to allocate everything. Same thing I need to do in my finances. Now what we do is we find it very complex because we say that itna kuch karna mere paas time ka hai.
Your dessert, that is. So what do you do? How is there a way to, is it can they do this on their own is my question. Or do they have to really hire big names and big people and go to firms that will help them park their money? Can they not do this, and why can't we do this on our own if they cannot? So really throw light on that.
So, Shirin, you are a mental health kind of ambassador to mental health and stuff like that, right? So, you would be a very good supporter of meditation.
Yes.
Okay. So, how about financial meditation?
Tell me more about it.
So, in a day, we have 24 hours,
Yeah.
and that converts to 1440 minutes.
Hmm.
If I calculate 2%, it is 28.8 rounded off to 30. Okay. So 30 minutes, that is 2% of my day, can sort 98% of my life. Okay. So that's the power of meditation focused, practice of 30 minutes. Same thing if I apply to finance. Now, as you said, do I need big things? Can I do it on my own? So to start with, I'll have to do on my own, because if I go to a practitioner again, it will be a little again very overwhelming sometimes for me, or I might just get confused. So I should have some awareness, and usually rather than outsourcing my finances to somebody, saying that, okay, you are my financial advisor, planner, wealth manager, which are really important professionals, as good as doctors to us. So they are the go-to persons for us. But I cannot outsource my finance to somebody, because it is my home, my architecture. So if I'm renovating my house, what will I do? I'll not outsource. I'll collaborate with that architect. Okay. Saying that this is my requirement. You say what is the best practice in the market. Okay. So he will say you use this material because this is waterproof. But I will say that you use this material because it has blue color and I want blue color in my kitchen. Fair enough. Okay. So same ways, you go to a professional, but you do your homework first. Okay. And how will you do that homework?
Yeah, and how do you find a professional that's the right person? Because it's overwhelming. You first don't know who to reach out, and then when you figure things out, you find dime a dozen out there. So how do you place your trust? Yeah. How do you know this is the right person for me, for my portfolio profile?
So that depends on what homework have you done for your own sake. So what is your homework is 30 minutes in a day to start with, because New Year resolutions are like 30 minutes every day, so it will never happen. So let's make it very realistic. Let's make it 30 minutes a week to start with.
Okay.
Now 30 minutes a week, what you will do is, there are these regulators in our country. So RBI is a regulator for banking, SEBI is a regulator for markets and mutual fund, IRDA is a regulator for insurance, PFRDA for pension. Okay, let's keep these four primary aspects. When we go through their websites, we feel, this is so complex. I don't want to read this. Yes. For the policymakers, not for me. But these people have built up consumer education, investor education, beautiful materials. So in those 30 minutes every week, why don't you go to Google and say RBI Financial Literacy Comics? Download that PDF. I mean, my 10-year-old son also relishes them, and you will also enjoy them. She'll also enjoy. All of us will enjoy reading them. So these are comics. I mean, parents can read them to children. Then SEBI has investor education handbooks. So there are small little books which is like investor education for housewives, for retired people, for working executives, for students, for senior citizens. All these categories they've built up. In fact, at Churchgate in Mumbai, there's an RBI Monetary Museum, which is a delight to go and visit.
Wow,
because right from metal money till today's monetary policy, plastic money, everything is beautifully portrayed there. Yeah. So these are the things that already Ministry of Finance and regulators have built up, maybe because of lack of awareness. And because of this, lure of shortcuts, because we are in that instant world ki pizza bhi 30 minutes ke andar chahiye. So, we want this instant everything. So, we will conveniently ask, okay, Sherene, what did you invest in? Acha, Sherene, you did this SIP, chalo, I'll also do the same thing.
Yes.
That doesn't work.
That's quite
So, I can't lose weight as you will lose your weight. Same ways, I need to go to my financial meditation, give it some time, give it that focus. And there is so much material available which is genuine, not, a typical branded material or something. And now when you go to a financial planner, advisor, you know whom to choose because your financial immunity is very strong.
This is so valuable as an information, because my next question definitely was that, what can parents do to be, financially wise? And before that, when they have kids, what can they do to inculcate the right financial habits or understand money management?
A parent has to lead by example.
That's very true. Very
Absolutely.
true. Yes.
So when it comes to financial education for the child, a parent has to lead by example. And the second important element of this is conversations. Parents don't want to put their, their stressful moments or their things on the child, saying that, वो तो बच्चा है, वो तो बच्ची है. So we all have stress at our workplaces, with our peers. We have so many things that we face.
Yeah.
But we don't want to converse with the child because we want to be very perfect parents, perfect, we don't want to know, we don't want our child to know all this.
Right.
So when we try to mask ourselves as perfect parents, that's where the problem starts, because that brings that conversation and generation gap.
And other aspects obviously are that they as parents, there's only so much we can do at some point of time, right? We cannot really become superhumans, and we should not even try and attempt that, because if we don't show a realistic picture to the kids, they're never going to learn the realities of life. They're never going to learn about, what's minimalism, what's consumerism behavior, what's it like to have not follow instant gratification.
When there is a crunch in the house,
Yeah.
or you bring that crunch, it's like a game. That you're saying that
Yes.
end of the month we say na wo haath tang hai and halat tight hai and whatever. Instead you tell your child that you have a budget and you need to catch them young.
Yes.
So when they are 5, that is the ideal age to start. So you take them to toy libraries, or you take them to buy toys or buy anything. So tell them this is your budget. Same ways, lead by example. When you enter a shop, tell your child in front of that shop itself, मेरा budget ना 2000 का है.
Right.
So you also are telling yourself you are getting disciplined. So in fact you are saving money double ways.
Yes.
So that is one way to do it, by leading by example. Secondly, don't treat your children as children. बच्चे इनको फाइनेंस क्या सिखाना है, 18 साल के हो जाओगे तो सीखना. By then they are loaded with so much of academics, they don't know how to learn finance.
Or they're loaded with a lot of information that you can't
Exactly.
erase. You can't reformat over. They're already inculcated with habits that you're now having big problems with. My question now is, so what can parents do as gifts, as we say, in terms of finance? So yes, they want to provide their kids with the best, but also there are two ways to it. One, what can they do in terms of giving them a gift to finance, not just them, their children, but also themselves as parents, because investing and retirement plans are some things that even they should be considering. So for kids, and a gift for themselves also.
In fact, primarily that's how I started this whole concept of LaxmiGyaan. So when it comes to gifting investments, insurances to children, the biggest error we make is that we hide these gifts from our children. If you really want to gift them, give them the ability to understand money. Right from a younger age. As I said, 5 is the nice age to start talking about it. Before 5, when the child is born, you are always like, कौन सा school, कौन सा playgroup, but you are always looking out for all these options.
Yeah.
So you are looking out for schemes. There are many parents who ask that, there's a child going to be born, or the child is just born, what can I put money in? Because their grandparents have given something, they want to invest something for long term and stuff. So then what you can do is, in the initial stage, when it is 0 to 5, then you start saving some money or investing some money in terms that you can do small schemes. Like there are so many government schemes now. Or when it's a girl child, there's this nice Sukanya Samriddhi now, which is for encouraging girl child and girl child education. So government has a lot of beautiful initiative called this. Or you're parking money in small lots because you don't know at that time when you will require it.
Correct, agreed.
Now here, when you start parenting, you are not going to parent the child for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We say कि बड़े हो जाएंगे तो independent हो जाएंगे, but a parent is a parent for a lifetime.
We can never retire.
Absolutely. So when you're planning your investment in insurance, don't just think कि ये scheme इतना पैसा हो गया.
Right.
So you will have to do it at every milestone. So what you need to do is bring an allocation to that as well. Think about micro term, which is 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. Think about short term, which is 2 years, because that's when your child will start playgroup and stuffs like that, and you need some money, caution money for school and all. Then 5-6 years, because that's where a lot of hobby classes and additional things will come in. Then 8-10 years, because that's when the higher side of secondary will come in, and you'll have coaching and all these extras. Then 15 years, because that's when higher education will come in picture. So instead of putting one scheme, parents would do one SIP of 5,000, 10,000 rupees and sit there. उससे अच्छा आप उसको break कर दो. Do liquid funds थोड़ा सा, balanced fund थोड़ा सा, growth funds थोड़ा सा. Then you're doing these, FDs थोड़ा सा. So as I say that if you have a corpus, so when grandparents are gifting something, you are always worried कि वो corpus डूब गया तो क्या करेंगे. So आप उसको FD में डाल दो, monthly interest लो, वो monthly interest SIP में डाल दो. So आपका पैसा भी वहीं के वहीं रह रहा है, and your mutual funds are giving you returns also, or you put it in shares if you are knowledgeable about it, or at the same time insurances. So now when it comes to insurance, it's a risk coverage, okay, and a child's life risk coverage is not on our mind. But these are disciplined savings that you may do, because SIPs are flexible. So I might just stop there somewhere, after 5 years maybe there's a home loan. So I'll feel that अभी ये child का तो बहुत time है ना, बाद में करेंगे. So these flexibilities are always a curse at times.
Absolutely.
So what you can do is some SIPs you've done, now some other MDs and fixed schemes you've done, some gold and all traditionally Indians buy. Then insurances are for those kind of plans where 20 to 25 is the age group when the child will start getting money. Now here there is a problem कि बच्चा बड़ा होगा तो value कितना होगा उस पैसे का, आज हम इतना बड़ा premium कैसे भरेंगे. So answer to this is every 2 years, every 2 years birthday or whatever milestone you want to keep.
Yes.
Every 2 years you add on to that insurance or investment. So what happens is when the child was 0 you started somewhere, 2 you started something else, then 4 you started something. So by the time the child is 20, all these cumulatives will come together to the child. So rather than saying that one perfect scheme and once I've done this and done for the lifetime, that doesn't work. Because I'll pay my school fees every quarter, I'll pay it every year. So then why not invest every year for the child? Okay, so one by one, level by level, you keep on increasing your coverage and investments for the child, and that will suffice when the child grows up. So that's the ideal way of doing it. Apart from that, as I said, you don't gift a fish, you give fishing to your child.
Yeah.
What you can do is, now when the child turns 5, start conversations of money, bring a piggy bank, ask the child to give you a treat sometimes. So, the child has won in some competition. So, rather than every time you spending money, you tell the child कि हमारे पास piggy bank है ना, why don't you give us a treat? And see what the child says. You will find so creative, children have those thought processes. So, they'll say, चलो मैं आपको pastry खिलाने लेके जाता हूँ या लेके जाती हूँ. So, do these with them. Don't feel that how can they spend money on us. Have that conversation and that flow, to and fro करते ही रहो, let the child spend for it.
Right.
Apart from this, lastly, start a concept of financial Sunday in the house. Financial Sunday is one Sunday in a month. Yes. We watch so many web series now. So we do binge watching and this watching, and nowadays we do binge finance also. Okay, कभी-कभी बीच-बीच में time मिला तो कर दिया. That's not how it works. So one Sunday you dedicate 2-3 hours of time. That's more than enough. Here, there's a pattern to do this to make sure it works. So the first pattern is the oldest in the family. Okay, if I'm assuming there are 3 generations in one house, there can be 2, there can be 1. So let's keep it aside. But I'm giving you a rough example of 3 generations. Whoever is the eldest in the family sits with all the documents. So पहले तो you have to clean the kitchen to cook good food. So get all these documents. किसी में एड्रेस पुराना होगा, किसी में फोन नंबर मैप नहीं होगा, किसी का भूल गए होगे करके कुछ, किसी का डुप्लीकेट पॉलिसी निकालना होगा. Some demats you might have and you have forgotten about it. So every month when you are consciously sitting, you are seeing that there are some errors in our finances, and the entire family is sitting together. So let's be vulnerable about it. It's all right, because India is full of documentations. So we can do this. Now this is the eldest, the youngest generation, that's children. Okay, so they are gadget savvy. Okay, they've learned Zoom, they've learned online schooling, they've learned internet, Google, everything is done for them, okay?
Yeah.
So give them a topic. So let's say a financial advisor has told you that this SIP is very good. So tell the child that ये नाम डालो और ये SIP है, मेरे को पढ़ के बताओ ना आपको क्या समझ में आया.
Yeah, that's very good.
So you are bringing the child's stake into your investments. Even if you are doing the schemes for your child only, they are also stakeholders. Okay? Let them understand that how saving is not so easy. It's not like, पापा दे रहे हैं ना पैसा तो मैं कर रहा हूँ, वो मान रहे हैं तो मैं मनवा रहा हूँ. So that thought process will go away because every one Sunday in a month, the child is getting exposed to all this. But here there is a disclaimer. When the child is presenting all this to you, we become elders suddenly and we start poking.
Correct.
अरे ये तो मुझे पता है, अरे ये तो मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, अरे ये छोड़ दे, ये बाकी का बता. You sit as learners, give that listening to them, see what is their perspective of looking at that scheme. And then you will get a lot of good questions to ask your financial advisor also.
You never know what comes out from their brilliant minds and tiny mouths.
Absolutely. Then when you start an SIP, tell the child कि देखो 2000 का SIP कर रहे हैं, 1900 रुपए हम डालेंगे, 100 तेरे पिगी बैंक से हर महीने डालेंगे.
Great.
So you put it or not put it for convenience. We will do that ECS obviously. But the child is seeing that मेरा भी stake है उसमें. And that's a very human factor. 100 रुपए भी मेरा जा रहा है तो I want to know what is happening.
Absolutely. Brilliant tips. So much we've learned. So much as parents also who can gather ways in how they can, teach their children to become money savvy, understand the value of money. Some brilliant tips. But Priyanka, tell me, what are the difficulties we really face, when we are doing this or trying to explain to people that this is not really hard? So right from the difficulties in terms of being a financial educator or the journey into it, or getting people to listen to you, taking you seriously, a lot of maybe concerns or issues or things that you've come across. What really can those be?
There are just two things in this. One is lack of consistency. And two is a system-driven process. Consistency, because I said one Sunday in a month, so it sounds so simple. अरे एक महीने में एक दिन 2 घंटे तो निकालने, एक वीक में 30 मिनट तो निकालने. It sounds very easy, but is it on our priority list?
Yeah.
That's a big problem currently because it's not on the priority list of anybody. So we see around that ठीक है सब busy हैं, everybody has to posting on social media is on our priority because अगर नहीं किया तो हमारा business कैसे आएगा and हमारा consistency नहीं रहेगा. So we have to be consistent, post reels, ये करो वो करो. So how we have become consistent? Because we are getting influenced that अरे उसके इतने likes हो गए, इतने followers हो गए. In family finance, this is your own baby. Nobody is going to see how much you are getting influenced or how much you are getting rich or poor. So you have to build your own habits. So it's like waking up early in the morning or it's like going for exercise or walk. So consistency is one thing. Now consistency will come when you see results.
Yes.
So how will this result orientation come is, this is a bigger problem because it takes time to bring these results. So one is, as I said, listening. So listen to your child when there is a conversation, then the result will come. Because you will see the value of money pouring up because the child will stop demanding to you because then the child knows what is going on in the house.
Correct.
So that will happen in 2-3 months. So you have to wait for that. So have that patience and then the consistency will build up. Secondly, the system-driven process. So now here, there is no education in India on finance.
Yes.
So it's just a subject in some courses or it's like accounting and somebody teaches equity market, somebody teaches insurance, some courses say banking and insurance. But these people don't really go to the core of it.
Yeah.
So basic financial literacy still as an education is not there. That's what I'm trying to bring through LaxmiGyaan. And as I said, this awareness, I'm so happy that I have this opportunity to tell people that there is an RBI, there is a SEBI, there is an IRDA, there are so many consumer education content, across the world. It's all freely available, but we are not using it. So if there is a system-driven process to it, where we say that, okay, now I have learned how a check is, how a banking is, how an insurance policy is, so I have no bias to it. So that will curb down my problems, because I will feel that okay, मुझे ऐसा biased होने का ज़रूरत नहीं है. I have to do it and I have to give it time and it's a priority. I will have to do it because there's no shortcut to success. And then there is no shortcut to financial success.
That's true.
So Sherene, here, let me ask you a question. You've been asking me beautiful questions. Let's have a twist in the tale here.
Sure.
So you have your own house decor as per your thought process, and you have a neighbor who has a same square feet area of the house. Are your layouts exactly matching?
No.
Why do you think so?
Personal preference.
Absolutely. So when it comes to decor and clothing and all these choices, or even food choices, we would generally not copy something absolutely. In fact, we'll change if we have an identical with somebody else. But when it comes to investments, insurances, savings, what we do is, because of this lack of knowledge, we'll go to Google and say, which is the best mutual fund, which is the best insurance, best mediclaim. That's how it's type. There is nothing like a best policy, best scheme, best SIP or best saving. It's always which is my relevant financial instrument, which is my relevant insurance, relevant investing, relevant scheme, and relevant thing for my child.
Right.
Because whether it is choice of school, choice of career, I mean you would agree with this as a career person yourself. So it has to be relevant. So if the child hates art, you cannot say nahi, तुमको drawing ही करना है because सब कर रहे हैं. You will get into the phase where you will say that okay, the child likes to play, so it's an athletic kind of a thought process. So let me put him into sports. So you will put him or her into sports kind of a background. So how will you choose the relevance of it? Same ways in finances, you need a relevance.
Right.
Relevance needs a system, and that system changes from home to home, family to family. That's the reason through LaxmiGyaan I'm trying to advocate that don't have one person managing the whole finance of the family, because then the family gets stranded sometimes. So you build your architecture all together. So जब architect घर में आता है तो सब अपने preference दे रहे हैं. मुझे ये ऐसे ही चाहिए, मेरा study table यहाँ चाहिए. आप बच्चे को भी पूछते हो तुमको कौन सा अलग चाहिए, bunk bed चाहिए. So same ways in finances, bring that whole conversation as a team. That's a system that you can start with. And evolve it as you go along. Make your own mistakes, have your own share of failures in it, and enjoy the journey.
Yeah, and let the kids also know that you're not perfect. You can make mistakes. Mistakes occur, and it's okay. You can bounce back from it. So a lot of life lessons to learn for the kids when you also involve them in your financial planning and building your empire together. My next question to you, Priyanka, is so. How did you decide that this is going to be your specialization and your field? We really took this to various other areas, but we didn't really see this through. That you didn't really probably have this in mind. You wanted to always begin different. You wanted to do psychology, as you mentioned, but then you found the best of both the worlds and you combined them beautifully. So, but really, it must have taken you a while to get there. So, can you tell us how did you, then merge the best of both the worlds and come to be doing what you're doing here? Can you throw more light?
So one is experimentation, which is like, a very easy thing to do when you're young. Till the age of 25 at least, we are very sure there are no EMIs to pay. There are no, burdens to cater to. And as I said, we were always involved in the financial processes of the family. So we are two sisters, and we knew how things are managed, and we had that value for money because we knew that how our parents are saving money. That generation had its own systems, as I said. So that was always a nice lesson for us. At the same time, we were given a free hand to experiment, which I'm sure every parent today says that I want to give my child a free hand.
Yeah.
But of course, in that free hand, there is that apprehension that ये free hand इतना भी नहीं हो जाए that the child ends up being confused. So wherever the child's interest goes, don't hop, skip and jump. So I come across parents who will say swimming class में भी भेजा है, drawing class में भी भेजा है, phonics में भी भेजा है. So do one thing at a time. Let it be slow. I mean, you need not just rush. Because when I found this finance and psychology combination as a career, it was in my slowest days of life. So I was not in a fast track race and I was in a rat race. मेरे friends यहाँ पहुँच गए, वहाँ पहुँच गए, मैं तो यहाँ रह गई and all that. I just stepped back and thought that let me discover my path. Because my academics was something else, my inclination was something else, and I knew that I want to bring them together somehow. So that conviction is most important. For that, reading is something that is, a blessing that we humans have. I mean, only we are humans who can read stuffs. So why not read good things?
Yes.
So if you are experimenting as a child or even as a parent, so a parent who is helping the child to experiment, you bring nice different books to the house. So rather than spending on so many coachings and classes and here and there, you bring a lot of different books. कभी आप science लेके आए, कभी history लेके आए, कभी आप maps लेके आए, कभी आप कुछ और languages you bring different to experiment. So what happens is when the child is reading and you are reading along, अब आप phone पे हो, social media देख रहे हो और बच्चे को बोले book पढ़ तो नहीं हो पाएगा. So you need to have that reading hour or reading time with the child, something like that.
I can't emphasize
Absolutely.
Yes.
So once you're doing this, you bring different kinds of books and see the inclination, observe. So when you're seeing the observation, you're seeing that the child is liking geography. So now do not bring your desires into it, because now I personally am pathetic with geography. So if you tell me left, right, I have to think for a moment. So if I say अरे नहीं geography नहीं है, because that is my failure, that I will say नहीं मुझे पढ़ाना पड़ेगा तो मैं कैसे पढ़ाऊंगी. So let the child explore more. You learn from the child. Improvise a bit on your geography.
Absolutely.
And when you are doing this thought process, there's again a conversation needed. So we had this conversation in our family. That's the boon that brought me here. That was the first thing here. That there was always an open conversation in the house. That अच्छा okay, you're not feeling like studying. अच्छा no problem. मतलब कोई चिल्लाता नहीं था, मारता नहीं था, पीटता नहीं था. ऐसे अच्छा नहीं है मन.
Or guilty and shaming.
Nothing.
Two big things also.
Absolutely. So we were told that see, you are okay from what you are doing. What is your aspiration? Where do you want to reach? And we were always brought to the reverse calculation. That वहाँ पहुँचने के लिए अभी क्या करना पड़ेगा?
Correct.
So when we did this reverse gear mentality, what happened is we knew कि अरे हाँ ये तो करना ही पड़ेगा. So then we started कि अच्छा ठीक है. Then we were told that okay, you can't excel in all the subjects. So you have your best subjects and have some which you can just finish off. So पहले जो dislike है वो पढ़ लो. हमको अपने मम्मी डैडी यही तो समझाते थे. Same thing comes in your career choices. Same thing got in my career choice where I said that okay, let me do one thing because my academics are over. I've done my finance. So 5 years I'll work. I'll get the experience because I've not seen the world as much as you have seen.
Absolutely.
So that was a trust factor and bonding between us. So I said 5 years, let me experiment, or rather let me just do what you're saying. Have a job, have nice salary, nice savings, everything for myself.
Very
After 5 years, I want to do something of my passion.
Yes.
So once that deadline was there with me, I knew that okay, 5 years and then I'll do something. So that's where I ended up teaching at BSc after 5 years of my career. That's where I got this seed of financial education. Then I went to students. So never demean a career.
Absolutely.
So when you are in a corporate, you feel बाप रे teaching कैसे कर सकते हैं?
Correct.
Don't have these biases now, especially when
I
you
don't have these barriers also. You want to do something, do it.
Absolutely.
You never know, you could become a pioneer at that and you could do big things at that and you could be the sea change of what you want to see.
And for that, have these deadlines. So 1 year, 2 years, this is the time I'll experiment and then I'll stop consciously.
Absolutely. Because when you put a deadline down, then you know that listen, because when do you stop? When is it that you tell yourself this is enough? You give yourself enough time and chances. Now it's time to move forward or bring new, which is so beautifully put by Priyanka.
That's what you do in your mental health, right? So you have that stop point somewhere that this is where I want to go. Then I'll assess and then I'll see what to do.
Yes.
Every time if you go to a professional, like somebody comes to you with their career advice, kind of a thing. So you have your professional matrix to tell them that this is the aptitude, because you have not lived with that child, you don't know how the child is, but you have some systems to show that this is your inclination. And there are some proven theories and stuff. So every 1 or 2 years, try and take a test or do a course and be a lifelong learner.
Absolutely.
So in my career again, all these things I experimented, but at the same time I was learning new skills. And when I was doing this, I somewhere found, one fine day there was this, entire clarity on the thought process, and I could put it on a canvas saying that these are the two things that we will do in LaxmiGyaan. So in LaxmiGyaan, what we are doing is I'm working on two core purposes. There is no professional formal education or degree in an insurance industry. So I'm trying to bring formal insurance, specifically currently in the Mediclaim sector, because that's a complex, important, significant product of the family. But either it is missold or it is misunderstood.
Agreed.
So that's where I want to bring in some kind of proper formal education for an advisor to actually have that credential to talk to a family. Secondly, I'm trying to bring financial education in families, and primarily through women. Because as I said, she is the Lakshmi of the family.
Yeah.
Lakshmi ko Lakshmi nahi pata.
Educate the women and the entire
family is educated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what kind of concerns or issues, or rather put it, why aren't women really the forerunners of financial education? Why aren't they out there taking the reins of finance in accordance to you? Because when I look at the people that come here, and a lot of women are, reliant on husbands or fathers, they don't really have the independence to do a lot of things, and that also is a breeding ground for a lot of emotional and mental issues. I see that women are not able to be, they're either given pocket money, or they're either given this much is your budget, you save it and you make some savings out of this. Some of them are stay at home. It's like putting women in a box. How do you not do that, or how do you help those women who are in the box, like really come out of that and do big things for themselves? Because women don't, if you're married or if you're still at your dad's house, you don't stop having desires to do things for yourself. Maybe you want to learn a new skill or a certification or go out there and really be something for yourself. But you don't have the finances for it, and then you become, even if you want to reach out to a counselor, you need your own savings or your own ways of income, and that you don't have to explain to anybody, where you're spending your money. So what can you do, to educate and help women create a corpus out of nothing, or simple things, if there is anything that you can comment on?
So there are two bifurcations to understand. One bifurcation is there's a male and female in the house.
Yeah.
The second bifurcation is there's an earning woman and a non-earning woman in the house.
Yes.
Now, when it is male and female, why women are so reluctant to get into finances is as good as if there is a male in the family and he is cooking food in the kitchen. So the societal typical thing is, she doesn't know to cook, or she's too money minded,
or she's just too lucky.
अरे आप खाना बना रहे हो, so it's not accepted. It's a mindset that how can a male cook? I mean, it might be because she is the error zone of all this situation.
Everything.
Yes. So that's what the same mindset comes when a woman is managing finances.
Okay.
Because the typical thought process in sages has been that a man is supposed to earn outside the house, a woman is supposed to manage the house internally. So that internal external bifurcation is there since all these years. Now, since some decades, there's a shift, because there's this girl child education and women and so many careers and so many stories and women empowerment going on. So with all this, women are getting into that urge of doing something. So even if she is on a sabbatical, 2 years she'll keep thinking, मैं और क्या कर सकती हूँ?
Correct.
So she wants to do something. She doesn't want to sit at home. That's what she typically tags it. Now comes this bifurcation of earning and non-earning.
Yeah.
So when she is not directly earning in the house, she is in fact richer than the husband that we saw in demonetization. So she has her own, gupt dhan hum bolte hain usko. She has her own ways of, hiding money.
Yeah.
Because a woman is given that trait where she will never reach zero or minus, which a man can.
Yeah.
So if a man has a financial crunch, he will go to a friend and say, "अरे 500 रुपए देना कल दे देता हूँ." But for a woman, she will think 500 times before asking this.
Very true.
So when it comes to loan takers also, you will find men are the most loan takers and women will normally say नहीं वो नहीं करना है, loan नहीं लेना है, because वो pressure नहीं चाहिए सर पे.
Yeah.
So now when there is a non-earning woman in the house, she has so much of saving within her, but she doesn't have exposure to finances.
Yes.
And the male is supposed to earn. So the male and female conversation is a gap. कि यार वो मैं क्यों बात करूँ, मतलब मैं कहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, मैं कहाँ पे इंश्योर कर रहा हूँ, मैं क्यों बताऊँ. The woman will feel कि मैं कैसे पूछ सकती हूँ, because it's not allowed, or rather we may have
miscommunications and lack of trust or
correct. So a woman is not allowed to ask, or rather she herself feels कि नहीं वो कर रहे हैं ना करने दो. In fact, there are women who tell me that मैं घर संभालूं, मतलब मेरे हस्बैंड को ये भी नहीं पता है कि बच्चे कौन से स्टैंडर्ड में पढ़ रहे हैं. तो मैं ऑलरेडी इतने बर्डन में हूँ, बिकॉज इट्स अ थैंकलेस जॉब ऑफ अ हाउसवाइफ, अ होम मेकर है जो भी कहो, बट हाउ कैन आई मैनेज सो मेनी थिंग्स व्हेन आई एम डूइंग सो मच. आप बोलो कि अभी फाइनेंस भी मैनेज करो, तो मुझसे नहीं होगा.
और लेट्स जस्ट आउटसोर्स दिस. कोई तो कुछ ऐसा कर रहा है जहाँ पे मुझे उसके ऊपर ध्यान देने की जरूरत नहीं है. So let them do this. Maybe I can take that 1 hour of my day and just zone out and look at the ceiling and not think anything and not worry about anything. That is also a case.
Now if you see things around us, so there's everywhere, as I said, instant, right? And there are gadgets to make things easy, or there are solutions to make things easy. अच्छा तुमको आटा गूंदने में टाइम लग रहा है, ओके फूड प्रोसेसर ले लो. So when everything is making easy, अच्छा chopper ले लो, ये ले लो, वो ले लो. Now she is looking for financial things also which are easy. So when there is a scheme which is lucrative to her कि अच्छा इसमें इतना ही डालना, fixed return मिलेगा ना, तो मुझे कुछ loss नहीं है, and it's a very easy process, let me do it. But right and easy may not be the same.
Correct.
So she needs guidance in terms of having that system which I was talking, because she spends the most time with the children of the house. So that percolates to her parenting also, again the financial conversation. So that's where I want to help them in terms of, you're not directly earning money, but you are the sole earner of the house because you have the savings when it is required.
Yeah.
That is one side. Now the earning woman. Now the earning woman says that मेरे पास टाइम किधर है, क्योंकि मैं तो बाहर और घर का दोनों वर्ल्ड संभाल रही हूँ, तो I am तो doubly pressurized. And I have deadlines at office, I have my business, I have my homepreneurship or whatever I am earning, so I have to earn. And I have to manage the house because that's a typical mindset कि घर तो मेरा ही priority है. तो मैं कैसे इसको मैनेज करूँ, उसमें फाइनेंस कैसे सीखूँ. So here I want to help them कि you involve first of all with your spouse, because both of you are earning. So bring that understanding of some commonality in expenses. Let's say okay, this it's each to its own, but let's say that okay हम एक काम करते हैं, जितना ग्रोसरी घर में आएगा ना, we'll spend half over it. That is one small start. Some couples do this, वो joint account खोल देते हैं, and then both manage. That's a easy way of doing it. तो अगर आप वैसे कर रहे हो, तो जैसे सेविंग्स एंड स्पेंडिंग में वो हाफ हो रहा है, या वो that teamwork is happening.
Yes.
That teamwork is lacking in your insurance and investments.
Yes.
So I want to bring that कि अगर यहाँ हो सकता है तो यहाँ पे क्यों नहीं.
Priyanka, we have a very exciting and fun segment where we'll ask you a few questions, but we'll finish this within 60 seconds.
Beautiful.
So, can we start?
Sure.
Alright, so what is your favorite financial quote?
Earning money is easy, spending is easier. The art lies in managing money.
Yes. What is your favorite investing scheme personally?
Scheme, I think asset allocation in terms of having short term, mid term, long term, all kinds of planning.
Okay. One favorite course or certification to learn personal finance or wealth management?
Can I put two here?
Yes, please.
One is there's a Play Store app called LaxmiGyaan where there's a beautiful course called Family Finance Funder. The second is RBI has a National Center for Financial Education, which is a free course available for everybody in India.
Okay. one tip on finance you wished you knew when you were younger?
Asset allocation, not getting biased to one product.
One takeaway from your LaxmiGyaan.
Always have a system driven process. In fact, to make system very easy, I've created this journal which is LaxmiGyaan journal. It's a one of its kind journal because like we have mental health and journals where we put across our feelings. You can actually put your monthly hisabs into it. There are insights, there are blank pages where you can write a lot of things, your financial fears and mistakes, and I think this is the way if you start expressing your finances, you'll be able to grow your finances.
Look forward to our parents, our viewers, the kids, the teenagers, our audiences in a nutshell to come back and comment and let us know how they learned about whatever they did in this session. Thank you so much once again for being part of this day.
Thank you so much for clubbing this mental health with financial health because these are actually two big pillars of life. So thank you so much.
Very well. Thank you.